Welcome. Today I hit a high note to another one of these videos that I'm doing. I'm a curious cat, okay, thank you. Last week we talked about adult toys. It was an interesting story showing us how creative people can be when they are frustrated, let's say. In today's video though, the creativity is out of the roof, and you will see why in a sec. As you can guess by the title, we are talking about condoms and the history and the invention and everything about them. After this video, if you're not grateful about what we have today, I don't know what to tell you. So to start with the actual word, just to get it over with, we don't have a specific origin of the word. One of the stories is the following. It is said that it wasn't used until the 17th century when King Charles II asked his doctor, Dr. Condom, but it was spelled with a U, to find protection for his sailors and soldiers who were dying from venereal diseases. But actually, it was to fully cover his ass because illegitimate kids were popping out of nowhere, and he was like, okay, I have to find something so I can be with how many women I want but not have any children, because the throne is mine and my rich kids only. But there is no record of Dr. Condom anywhere. It is speculated that he changed his name because he didn't want his name to be associated with the invention. Who knows? We surely don't. And maybe we'll never. Firstly, I would like to mention the history of the woman condom because it's very short, and then we will go back to history and do our thing. I tried to find the first invention, not the first patent, the first invention, and if somebody ever mentioned anything in any transcript. I couldn't find anything besides a myth that I will tell you in a little bit. I will link an article down below that tried to find the origin. They found some mentions around the late 19th century and early 20th century, somewhere between this time period. Though we don't know if the information is valid, so I will not mention it right now, but I will mention a myth. The myth goes like this. Of course, ancient Greeks, we have to get involved in every aspect of human living. Of course. It is said that King Minos allegedly was killing his mistresses after having intercourse because snakes and scorpions were coming out after he finished. Okay, to prevent that, I will say suggested, but I don't think that he did, that his female partners should put a goat's bladder up in there to prevent essentially murder. That was the first written use of a female condom, which is not that far from the truth. You will see in a minute, but of course it's a myth. The actual inventor of the woman's condom is Lasse Hessel, a Danish doctor, so I don't know how to pronounce the name. It was invented in 1984. Before that, when the rubber was invented, diaphragms, cervical caps and stuff like that were invented, but of course they cannot be used as an actual condom to prevent STDs, STIs and pregnancy. It can be used for pregnancy prevention, but it's not that effective. let's say. So, 1984, it was made out of polyurethane. It was a loose-fitting sheath with a flexible ring at each end. The closed end has a ring that is not only used to hold it in place, but helps with insertion. And at the open end, the other ring remains outside so that the rest of the sheath covers part of the external genitalia. In 1991, they were ready to sell, and I think they started selling those, but it wasn't until 1993 that the FDA approved the condoms for the US. But there were complaints about the distracting crinkling sound. Of course, I can imagine that it could be a little bit distracting. And also, they were much more expensive than the male condom, as most of feminine products, but we will talk about it next week. Just wait for it. So they changed the material, which inherently reduced the production cost, because it's a whole thing about the material that I cannot comprehend it neither in Greek nor in English. The actual price wasn't reduced. So that's why it wasn't that popular between women. Now, I've googled it, of course. They are more affordable, and they come like the normal packet of condoms with an applicator, so that you can be sure that you put it correctly and everything is in place. Sadly, before searching about it, I didn't know the existence of it. This is the first time that I'm hearing it, that I'm reading about it, and I'm a little bit ashamed. Maybe I should buy some. We will see. Now let's get to the nitty-gritty. What did males use to wrap their private parts? Back in time. Let's travel back in time. I don't want to do it ever. In 11,000 BCE, someone painted a painting in a cave in France depicting a man and a woman having intercourse, and the man really looks as if he is covered in animal skin. I will show you the picture. If you see it, please let me know. I spent like 20 minutes looking at the photo and trying to understand where is the intercourse, first of all, where is the animal skin, second of all. The picture is on the screen as I'm talking, so please let me know, because it's driving me a little bit crazy, I have to admit. Moving years later, in 1000 BCE, drawings show ancient Egyptians wearing condoms. However, we are not sure if it was just for sexual or ritual reasons. I read somewhere that if they were using it for sexual purposes, it was just because of insect bites, nothing more. The Egyptians were in fact the first civilization to wear condoms made out of linen, fine linen, and went as far as making them in different colors to distinguish social status. You had to show your status even when you are in the middle of things, because how else these people that can see you can know that you are respected in your real life by your peers and by other people? Come on, leave the statuses and everything out of it and just enjoy it. Romans and Greeks used animal bladders. You see the connection with the myth of King Minos? Yes, I know. Mainly sheep and goat bladders. And intestines. The most popular material for condoms in those civilizations were intestines. Butchers were manufacturing those condoms because, of course, they understood the high strength of intestines, bladders, everything, and they could fashion it accordingly. Imagine the scene. You're going like at your butcher and you say, "Hello, good morning, sir. I would like 1 kilo of goat ribs, I don't know, and 2 condoms, please. Thank you. I will wait over there. Have a good day." Ah. In the 14th and 15th century, the Asian upper classes were using condom-like protection that protected basically only the tip. In China, they were using oiled paper or lamb intestines. I told you it was a popular material. In Japan, specifically, they were using condoms made out of tortoise shell and horns. Ouch. As you can imagine, that was not pleasurable for anybody involved. No. And they were not that great, and they were not that useful at the end of the day, because they could easily break or be left up there. It's shocking enough if a normal condom gets stuck. A horn condom? No. Thank you, sir. I'll pass on that. A side note, they were using it also when men had problems with... You get me? I swear my upstairs neighbors... Just... They have to get their life together. They have to. It's been like 5 months. Moving very ahead, during the Renaissance is when the syphilis outbreak happened in Europe. A fact about syphilis that I didn't know: it was firstly called French disease because it was spread amongst the returning French troops invaded Naples, Italy. So in order to prevent or try to help with this outbreak, an Italian physician and anatomist, Gabriele Fallopius, from who the fallopian tubes are named, made one of the biggest innovations in the condom history. He suggested a linen cloth be soaked in chemicals, dried, and then used as a protection against the deadly disease. And they would tie it at the bottom. So cute. 1100 brave, they were characterized as brave, and I can understand, I'm not making fun of it. They were brave to try this. Participants lined up to test out this linen sheath. Before use, it had to be lubricated by saliva, and remarkably, none of them contracted any diseases transmitted through intercourse. So the linen condoms, it's safe to say that became very, very popular back then. But as always, as you can imagine, the church wasn't a fan of that. They considered the use of condoms as a sin and immoral. But I will talk about it in a little bit. I have to talk about it. I cannot keep my mouth shut. Many people, as I said, were using condoms, were fans of them. Casanova was one of them. We all know Casanova, of course. He was an advocate of condoms, and he wrote about them. His famous biography, Histoire de ma vie, Story of My Life. He writes that he used to blow up the condoms in front of his lady friends to entertain them and check for holes. Also, Marquis de Sade, I mentioned him in last week's video, a fan of condoms. Freud, on the other hand, was not a fan, but he preferred it over the pulling out method. And on the opposite side of all of those men was Jane Austen, who recommended sleeping in separate beds over any sort of contraception. Okay, Jane. I said all that to make a point and not just to bore you. Many people were really skeptic about them, especially because the church, sorry for clapping, especially because the church was super against them. A little disclaimer here, you can believe in whatever and whomever you want to believe. You can practice your religion however you want. I don't care, to be quite honest. But if you want to be sexually active, just be logical about it and take care of your body. It's not only about the pregnancy. STDs and STIs are in fact a very real thing. Did you know that more than 1 million STIs are acquired every single day? Over than 1 million. Chlamydia, gonorrhea, syphilis, trichomoniasis, which I didn't know it. But apparently if something smells fishy down there, pun very much intended, you should go and see your doctor and check it out. Anyway, moving on, let's get back to my favorite oppressor to talk about, the church. I don't care. I don't like how people run the church. To add on to my many arguments that I have against the church, I will say this. Making a very long story short, even when people were dying through the HIV and the AIDS epidemic in the 80s, it wasn't until 2010 that they said that it is okay to use condoms in order to prevent HIV/AIDS. 20 or more years later, but okay. Although in 2016, Pope Francis said that using any type of contraception would be morally acceptable only in fighting the Zika virus that hit Latin American countries the most. Not for any other reason. No, I will not elaborate. Typical Catholic Church, typical. Moving on from that and never mentioning the church again for this video. In 1855, Charles Goodyear invented rubber things and rubber condoms. Such a good year for the sexual health. I had to, sorry, it was there, it was speaking to me, I had to do it. At this stage, the rubber condoms were still very thick. Imagine the inner tube of a bicycle. However, they were safer, less likely to break. Men were advised actually at the time to wash and reuse their condoms until they were done. Sadly, shortly after, in the 1873, shortly after, the Comstock Law was passed in the US, prohibiting any distribution of obscene materials, including any type of contraception at the time. Condoms took a great hit. The First World War, only German troops at the beginning were given condoms from their government, and UK followed not shortly after, but they followed due to the fact that many of Britain's soldiers were dying. It was reported that around 400,000 people died due to sexual transmitted diseases. On the opposite side, very opposite side, US just gave its troops a medical kit to cure syphilis and gonorrhea. Nothing to prevent them. That, ladies and gentlemen, can describe our whole health system even till this day. In 1918, the advertisement ban for condoms were lifted, which was a perfect timing because in 1919, the single-use latex condoms were invented by a guy in Ohio named Frederick Killian. Latex was the perfect material for production as it was thinner than rubber, didn't age as quickly, and was relatively odorless. And when I read that, I was like, you are right, rabbit. No, rabbits have odd odor, of course, but rubber though. Using latex also meant that condoms were cheap and easy and fast to produce, leading to the mass production of condoms. Due to the fact that the advertisement ban was lifted during the 1920s, condom manufacturers were giving a lot of emphasis on their branding, packaging, and everything. They tried to make it as approachable, as friendly, and as appealing to the customer so that they can sell. And they still do it till this day. If you ever see Durex advertisements, they are always very appealing. That resulted in double sales during the 1920s, but a very terrifying fact that blew my mind away when I read about it. Quality control methods were applied during this period, many different methods, many different tests. Okay, to ensure that everything is correct, and for the big companies. Those condoms that didn't pass the quality control, the quality check, were not destroyed. Nay. Instead, they were sold under a cheaper brand name. Isn't it illegal? In the 1950s, huge improvements were made to the latex condom. They introduced the reservoir tip. They were thinner, lighter, and tighter in addition to the lubricant. So in the 1950s is when the lubrication inside the condom became a thing. Specifically, it was Durex in 1957 that invented the lubrication. Thank you, Durex, I always trust you. The 80s happened. The AIDS epidemic was affecting many people, and many people died due to it. The usage of condoms dramatically rose, and you could find condoms anywhere you could. Anywhere you look, there was a condom, which I believe is a very good practice, especially, of course, when you are in an epidemic. Moving on, in 1994, polyurethane condoms were invented for those that had an allergic reaction to the latex. In 1995, Durex followed the introduction of non-latex condom and also released the first flavored and colored condoms to market. Imagine being in the 1995 era and seeing for the first time a colored condom, and then seeing on the packaging that it has a flavor. I know, what a time to be alive! The time to be alive was a little later, you will see in a sec. 2017, it's creeping up. In 2005, some guy tried to invent a sprayed-on condom. You want to tell me that you believe, being a man yourself, that it could be easier to sit there and spray your thing before entering than to put... Come on, of course it failed. Moving on to 2006, condom sales reached 9 billion worldwide. In 2009, a new material, this one I will not try to pronounce it, it's no, this one came to the market, providing an even better option for those who had latex allergies. The people with latex allergies have no excuses now. In 2013, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation gave 11 condom designers $100,000 each to develop something new. Oh, they found something new, but it wasn't from your foundation, Mr. Gates. Nay. But before the new thing that they discovered, in 2014, Sagami Rubber Industries smashed the world record of the world's thinnest condom with their 001 condom. A spokesperson said that it is the thinnest that it can be. But he also said that if people demand thinner, they are already doing research about 0.09 millimeter or 0.08 millimeter thickness. At that point, don't wear the fucking condom. I don't know what to tell you. This type of condom was sold only in Tokyo, and I was like, and I will mention it, and then I cannot buy it. So I've searched it. You can buy it on Amazon, on every other site, and you can try it yourself. You know what I should do, or I should have done? I should have bought one female condom, this condom, and have a normal Durex condom, and compare. Why didn't I think of that? Fuck. We will see. Maybe I will do a vlog and show you. Maybe. We will see. Remember where we started? Turtle shells, horns, goat intestines, or bladders. Weird, I know, but what is weirder than that is the next invention that I will talk about right now. In 2017, British Condom is a company introduced c0n, the first smart condom. Let me read you straight from the website how they are advertising it. Reading straight from their website. Have you ever wondered how many calories you're burning during intercourse? How many thrusts, speeds of your thrusts, the duration of your sessions, frequency, how many different positions you use in the period of a week, a month, or year? Ever wondered how you stack up to other people from around the world? Welcome to the future of wearable technology in the bedroom. Welcome to Icon. Basically, it's a ring that it's not an actual condom, that's why I use the quotations. It's not a condom, it's a ring that you use on top of the condom. You put the condom, then you put this, and then with nanotechnology, blah 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 blah, it records everything and show you your stats. Do you want to talk about it? Because I am a little bit freaked out by it. Especially the part that said, ever wondered how you stack up to other people from around the world? Come on, we are comparing ourselves to everything. Is it necessary to compare this? They are selling it for £60 to just track your intercourse. Use it at your own risk. I don't know if I would like to see it while having intercourse. Oh babe, one moment, let me put the ring and... Not today. No. You just destroyed the whole moment. No. No. Bye. A little something that I want to add here again, a serious note. I know that most of us know about the importance of condoms, and I also know that some of us had or are still having unprotected sex. If you choose to have unprotected sex, please, you owe it to yourself and to your partner to go and check. Get tested for STDs, STIs, everything. Annually, at least. If you're just having unprotected sex, you should go every 3 or 6 months. You owe it to yourself. Enjoy your sex life, enjoy it to the fullest, but be smart about it. If you want to know about the history of adult toys, you can click here and you can find other things to look. I got you, baby. Of course I do. I always do. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. Bye.